Hello ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It's your boy Iz33, welcoming you to this Anarchy Analysis matchup. It is going to be G2 Esports taking on Mad Lions from their best of 5 series. This is going to be game number 3. This is going to be very interesting as G2 have come into this series swinging, absolutely demolishing the Mad Lions in the first 2 games. This third game is going to be very interesting to see whether or not the Mad Lions will bounce back from their deficit that they're in. Anyway, we see Mad are on the blue side for this game, G2 are on the red side, and let's see what these two teams actually prioritize in the draft. Now, I'd expect bans towards the Callista from Mad, because that is a big pick for Perks in that bot lane. Also, maybe a Nautilus, maybe something that's a big playmaker that allows Mickey to be annoying. TF's going to be the first ban though, so Caps is probably not going to be roaming as hard as he wants to. The Lux ban comes in from G2, obviously nullifying that very strong bot lane with Sona. Obviously this patch, the Lux rework or slight changes have come through to her shielding. That has been dropped, even though it isn't the actual patch, only the Lux changes exist on this bit of it. But yeah, this is a big change, so she isn't as powerful as what she was on previous patches, but she still has that power nonetheless, and thus she has been removed. There's the Nautilus ban from Mad. Obviously, in the past 2 games in this series, Mickey has performed excellently on that Nautilus, using his depth charge and dredge line perfectly. There's the Caitlyn ban from G2. Obviously, that big powerful pick is not being allowed through, and the Sed is the last ban from Mad, and then the Callista is the last ban from G2. Now, this does mean that the Ashe is still available, as well as the Jhin top pick's still alive, even though Ezreal is alive. The 2 teams haven't gone towards it, and it's actually going to be the Lila first lock-in for Mad. You'd probably expect here the Shen for Wonder to be locked in, or something along those lines, maybe a Hacker to kind of counteract it. But G2 going safe with their bot lane. They lock in the Ezreal and the Yuumi, a very good bot lane that's very strong, and obviously the later into the game it goes, the stronger this bot lane actually gets. Now, the Ashe will be the second rotation of picks for Mad Lions here with the Lulu, so it's an Enchantress bot laner for Kaiser. Not one of his stronger playmakers that he tends to go towards, like say a Thresh, or maybe even a Braum or a Taric would work. No, they go with this Ashe Lulu bot lane. I'm not too keen on the Lulu for Kaiser, but nonetheless it's been locked in here. If I'm G2 though, I'd be looking at your jungle pick here, or even the Shen. That is probably a good option to actually go with. Obviously, there is the Sion still available, or the Urgot that Oamne can actually rock. Even GP is available, but I expect that to be banned out in this phase. There we go, first ban by G2. And I'd expect maybe Wukong, maybe Renekton banned from G2 as their second bans if they want to put Wonder in a very advantageous matchup. But I would say that Mad will target the mid lane pool here, continue to shrink that down, put the champs that Caps can actually play to very minimalistic. Obviously, Ori is still a big champ that's available to him. There's the Renekton ban from G2, so they are playing very, very strong towards this top side map to get Wonder an advantageous matchup. Whereas Mad probably will ban out the Volley if they want to continue out jungle bans. If not, they'll probably ban the Orianna. It's the only real option, and there's the Kha'Zix, so that means that we may be seeing a Jankos Sejuani, something he absolutely adores playing. No, he absolutely hates it. I'd expect that. Maybe a Lee Sin coming out here for G2. Obviously, they want to probably save the counter pick, and there's the Lee Sin coming through for Jankos. Mad here have their top lane champ, probably maybe an Ornn, I would go with. It's safe. It provides late game power in team fighting and a lot more scaling than a Shen. But it's going to be the Camille. I'm actually surprised by that being locked in because it doesn't work too well into the Shen. But the pick that goes with that Camille, they're going to try and ignore the Shen. They're going for their own TP plays with that grand entrance of the Galio. They're going to be using the Camille Hextech ultimatum to lock people down and combine it with the entrance ult from Galio, giving her the Camille the magic shield and essentially locking up these targets. So if you essentially, what we should be expecting here is Mad to be playing towards that top half of the map. And the reason I say that is it nullifies the channel. It allows them to actually target the actual pick that's meant to be getting across the map, and they can use their TP in the mid lane to kind of nullify the TP in the top side. It's very strong. That being said, there's a Syndra for G2, one of Caps' stronger picks, and that'll be trying to push in the wave to keep the Galio at bay, keep him behind his turret, and essentially not able to respond or get up to the top side to affect that matchup. As the bot lane, we look at it, it's going to be fairly even once he jumps their power spikes. I expect it to be close, but anyway, Mad vs G2 as we load into game number 3. And onto the Rift we go. Standard startups for both teams here as the line of skirmishes have been drawn. Looking across the board at Summon Spells and Ruins, TP on the Ashe and Cleanse on the Ezreal, obviously expecting to be hit by Ashe arrows, their perks, or the lockup combination of the Mad line, so I'd like that change up. As we look at everything, we're expecting Mad to probably, with Delilah, look for an early invade, because she has that power to clear camps so quick. She can realistically go for these early invades and clear out most of the enemy jungle before they even arrive to try and contest. Anyway, junglers are roaming to their red buffs for their starts. In fact, I think Yankos may start his Raptor camp. If not, he'll go for something else. As Galio, looking forward, he would have been spotted by that ward, I do believe. So G2 do realise there's no vision for the Mad Lion's place. So they get free start on this red buffs and go on their merry way. Now, looking at the summon spells, it is going to be a heal and exhaust Yuumi, which is actually important because usually you expect the heal to be on the AD carry, and obviously with Ezreal taking cleanse to avoid the Ashe arrow and the grand entrance and sleepy times from Delilah because of the amount of CC on this Mad Lion side, I like this change up in summoners for this Ezreal and Yuumi combination on the bot side of the map. Now, looking mid-wave, it is not Electrocute Syndra, it is going to be the phase rush, so a lot of movement is going to be in that kit for that champion, so she can actually match roams quite easily, even though there is a summoner spellbook on this Galio who can just switch off to a ghost to kind of match up to the speed that Syndra wants to be going at, and essentially go for them very powerful taunts that you can get with a ghost. It's very powerful with the changes to ghosts on the season 10 patches where they buff the amount of movement speed that you get from it. Anyway, we do see an early roam up here by the Lee Sin at level 3, looking to get this Shen a favourable matchup, obviously with the trading. The taunt though misses, and this Camille, once she's used that hookshot, is in danger from being hit by the Sonic Wave. It is going to land, it forces the flash out, and good plays coming out from G2 to punish the top laner for using their spells and going over aggressive. And we look at the side of your screen, you see who will carry Mad, and it's looking quite powerful in the bot lane. Kaiser is getting up to a very high score. He's almost tied with his AD carry Kazi, And he is now tied with Kazi. That's actually important to realise, that your support is considered to be the carry by Twitch chat. That's always a good sign. Anyway, top side, the back of Shen is going to be stopped here as Lila looking to go for a gank here onto Syndra, looking for the Scudder Suite to hit, but a flash out from Syndra and the Scatter Weak is going to force that Galio away, and a lovely re-engage from the Lee Sin gets first blood for G2. Now, this is going to be interesting to see how this Lila clears the wave as TP is coming in. Lee Sin's overstepped here with the Sonic Wave missing. He's going to be in danger of the Galio just hitting an easy taunt. There we go, locked up, knocked into the air, and TP coming through yet again from Caps basically nullifies the first blood kill for G2 there, thanks to a lovely play from Lila getting her first kill in the game. Anyway, topside, we're seeing a bit of a favourable trade here for the Shen, forcing hookshot away from the Camille. And this is a very insane matchup. Shen actually had to fight that so that he could essentially stop this big, massive wave of minions hitting his turret and pushing the wave back into where the Camille wants it. So essentially what he does is he stops it from crashing into the turret so that he can freeze it in a more favourable position, and essentially he can then just farm freely without having the Camille harass him as much, and actually forcing the Camille into an unsafe position, considering the fact that her flash has actually been burnt already. Anyway, bot side of things, we see the Ashe and the Lulu roaming back into lane, obviously clearing a bit of vision placed down by G2. It allows them to essentially play this lane quite nicely, as level 6s are coming in for the Mad Lions and G2 here in the mid lane. We see them roaming down to this first Drake. Galio and Lila obviously get the early position, as Lila does have the extra kill and the extra level over Yankos, so the smites in favour of the Mad Lions team. Now that G2 know that the Drake's been taken, this play that Yankos is setting up here kind of is a bit of a waste, because Oromne has pulled back to his turret, he's playing it safe. He expected probably G2 to make a play topside, as his team was taking something bot side. He has to play very safe on weak side on the map. And as such, I like that coming out from Mad Lions. Anyway, mid lane, we're going to see Caps getting dove here. Stand United is going to be used by Shen, and the Unleashed power just forces Lila back, as Lila did have ultimate, and she did actually put the Syndra to sleep, but Caps plays it very safe, plays it cool, and keeps himself alive, though the big spell out of the Shen has been used, and that relieves a lot of pressure out of the Camille's kit, as what is Perks doing? He's stepping up way too close to the turret. He's forced to flash away. Lee Sin's coming back in with the Sonic Wave. He's looking to execute the Lulu here. Yumi's tagged along for the ride, and he gets on top, but the shields come through, and that is a deadly Sin. Ashe picks up the kill in this fight, and they're looking for more here, as the E from the Lila is going to land onto Ezreal. He's very close to dying. The true damage from the Q lands, and he is able to get away on about an inch of health there. And G2 overcommitting in the bot side of the map gives Mad Lions such a big advantage in controlling this bot lane and getting themselves ahead. And that is not something you want to be saying, considering the fact there's now essentially a 20 CSD difference in that bot side of map in terms of the ADCs, and Perks was forced to burn his flash, though he didn't have to burn cleanse because Lila's sleep was on cooldown, and if that wasn't burnt in that mid lane dive, he was more than likely dead. And as such, G2 get away with being murdered once and not 3 times. Now, top side of things we haven't focused in here, but Shen, because of the early burning of Camille's flash, she's had to play extra safe, and that's essentially meant that Shen could freeze a wave and essentially stack up a big minion wave and get a large CSD advantage over this Camille, As you can see, it's close to 30 CS advantage, and that is a big thing considering the fact that Shens normally have a struggling time in the top side. But obviously with the picks and bans, G2 banning out some of Shen's biggest counters, they essentially allowed Wunder a very easy and fun time in this top side of the map. And I say that is a big difference in the top lane. Look at the jungle CSD. Shadow has been farming up a storm. He has actually got a 30 CSD, 35 to be exact, over Jankos. And Jankos is playing Lee Sin, a champion that's meant to be good at playing the early game, setting up ganks and actually forcing things to get himself ahead. And he did make one early game play, obviously burning the Camille flash, but that's it. He hasn't done much since then other than have to save his mid laner and get first blood off of that. But there's not much more been done, and that is actually really important because it means that essentially Mad are controlling the gold here. Obviously that 900 gold advantage at 10 minutes is big considering they're beating G2, and every game that they played in the spring series, as we're going to see a fight here as the final chapter, is going to be used to pop the Ashe, but the lovely Lulu is going to keep her alive for just a little bit longer. The sleep has been used by Lila as she joins this fight. Stan United is being cast here to try and keep her bot laner safe, but the Ezreal falls to the Lila, and Lila is not done here. It's Galio is going to come in quite late, but he was forced to burn that because Syndra was ever so close to killing him, and that is a favourable fight for the Mad Lions in bot half of the map as they win the fight 2-1 in kills, and G2 are going further and further behind. The only good thing for them is you look at the champions that G2 have, they have a lot more scalability. Obviously, the Ezreal and the Yuumi, once they get to late game, are going to be nigh on unkillable. And the Syndra will have a lot of power, obviously, with the amount of AP she builds into that kit. Shen, when he gets to round 16, he's pretty much, that's all his useful is. As we look at this fight again, so what we end up seeing is Ashe walking forward, trading heavily. Final chapter has to be used, and that is essentially the lockup onto her. But a lovely Lulu ult keeps her alive. It stops the first initial engage from Lee Sin. As we look at this trade between the mid laners here, we see Syndra unleash power, forcing the dash away from the Galio. Scatter of the Weak lands and flashes forward. I don't know if he needed to flash there. I think he might have thought he had enough damage there, Caps, to actually execute the Galio, but he gets away, and Mad Lions take the Herald, which we don't actually see, but they get it, and they're going to kill this top lane tier 1 with that play, and that is a map control secured for the Mad Lions in this top half, which will be good once Baron spawns in 8 minutes. But the even better bit is, because they're forcing plays up here, and they've actually forced Jankos to come up and respond, they know where the G2 jungler is. They know he's not taking the Drake to kind of counteract the play by Mad Lions, as we are actually seeing a TP coming through in the bot lane. It is going to be Kazi, so they're giving over a lot of turret gold here, the Mad Lions, over to their ADC. They want to get him further and further ahead than the Ezreal. As Jankos is looking to make a play, the taunt has to be flashed by the Ashe, and that is final chapter. Gonna lock her up, and this is re-engaged as the Hextech ultimatum is challenged onto Shen. He's gonna die to the Galio, and that's just the two teams disengaging as Lee Sin and the Ashe fall in the fight. Overall, that's more worth, in my opinion, to the Mad Lions, because they can essentially come take this Drake for free because the G2 jungler is dead. And I thought it was the Shen who died in that fight. It actually was Lee Sin. Obviously, when you've got two big energy users, you don't actually expect this. As Shadow is looking to make a chase down. He's going to spot out the Ezreal with that thing. And that is as sleepy as he's gone to sleep. In comes the slam down, and that is going to be a kill over to the killing spree Lila as we take a look at that play again. So, Mad taking this turret, they're getting it ever so low. G2, ward hop, Lee Sin ward hops over the wall. Taunt flash from Wunder is not enough as Ashe flashes in response. Then it's the final chapter into a kick to lock her up, and that's the kill for G2. But because the TP comes out from Galio, he's able to taunt up the Lee Sin just in range and essentially secure the trader kills. So a 1-for-1 trade overall in that play. Make it actually a 2-for-1 as there was that kill in the top half of the map as Perks got caught out, who is now sat 0, 2 and 1. Though he is stacking up his Manamune, he is very far behind as this Ashe is behind in CS, but is ahead in kills as Galio and Shen looking to do a little bit of a skirmish in the spot map, though it won't mean much as Shadow is lurking around, who is now starting up this Cloud Drake, and the rest of Mad have actually roamed down as well. This is going to get burned down quite quickly, and that is going to be the second Drake of the game over to the Mad Lions. They're controlling this incredibly well, and this team are doing a lot better than what they have done in the first 2 games of this series. Now looking to this mid lane, we are going to see the possibility of a chase down. Scatterweak isn't going to land onto the Ashe, she just sidesteps it, and Syndra just goes back to clearing the wave. And you look at everything across the map at itemization wise, Lunt's Echo is complete on the Syndra, to the Hextech Proto Belt of the Galio. Essentially, they're quite even in terms of items cost, so not much difference there. Top side map, it is a full 2 tier mats on either. Well, a tier mat on one top laner and a tier mat on the other. They're kind of on working towards their first item, which is probably going to be Titanic Hydra on that Shen, and Ravenous probably on the Camille. But looking at everything as it goes, Lee Sin roaming up to this top side. Ezreal's there as well. They may be looking to make a play onto Omne here, who is stepping forward. He has Hawk shot over the wall. He's walking straight into Lee Sin. Stan United's going to come through, and the kick as well. That is the lockup with the Hextech Ultimatum, but it is not going to matter as Shen picks up the kill as Lila is going to land her E. I forget what it's called, the Scuttle Seed, as the Ashe Arrow is going to hit here onto Syndra. She is forced very low as the Lulu Walk comes through, but it is not going to be enough to save the Ashe, and that is going to be a trader kills as Lila picks up the shutdown onto Syndra because of a nice positioning, and that was a very poor flash coming out from Caps as he essentially tried to flash over the Ashe Arrow. He essentially hit the back end of the tail, and that kind of stunned him up. And he realistically got punished because of that flash. So, G2 making plays slightly across the map, though Mad are there to respond as we watch this again. So, Syndra roams down to the mid wave, clears out a bit of vision, places the orb, and the Ashe Arrow goes through. He flashes directly on top of it, and then it forces the final chapter out. Exhaust onto the Ashe. She gets dropped very low. 1Q kills her off. And then it's just Lila landing her skills to essentially kill off the Syndra. So, not much was burnt there from the side of the Mad Lions, whereas a very big amount from G2 was burnt to keep the Syndra alive. But it is not going to be enough. And essentially, Mad Lions win out the trade, and because of that, they get free access to this Rift Herald in the top half of the map. And this game, Shadow has controlled every objective on the map. He's controlled the 2 Drakes that have spawned, as well as the first Rift Herald, and now the second. And he has his fully complete Leandries as Yankos. You stood on the ward there, buddy. He's going to be chased down as the Ashe Arrow is going to land. The volley will not follow up. And G2 looking to re-engage. Ezreal stepping forward. I don't think they've got enough power here to actually do much as Galio comes round the corner. Make sure his team's not going to be jumped on by G2. And they both disengage here. Not much more could be done from either team. True Shot Barrage has been casted down the mid wave to clear that out a bit, but it will not stop this Rift Herald charge, and this turret is more than likely going to fall here, and G2 stepping forward quite aggressively. Final Chapter is not going to root anyone there, and Ezreal's been put to sleep, but no more follow-uppers. Oh! I tell a lie, the E from Lila almost chunks him out. As Stan United is coming out onto the Lee Sin by the Shen, that forces Galio to come in, but two teams disengage, and nothing more. Stand United keeping the G2 side of the map safe, whereas the Mad Lions with their extra power and strength in gold keeps them safe. Though we do not see Oarne join that fight. He was too busy pushing up in this top lane, getting himself a tier 2 turret, and he's actually going to probably push this wave up to the inhib turret and force G2 to actually respond to him. And because the Camille's want people to come to them in this sort of game, they're going to be like, hey, come over to me, buddy. I'm just a poor, lonely Camille. I need my friends. And that's when the Galio comes smashing down. Delilah jumping over the wall, hitting you with her E. And then you just die outright to the combo of the Mad Lions. And that is not something you want if you're G2. As yet again, Mad positioning early for this Cloud Ocean Drake, but Hextech Ultimatum has been challenged onto Lee Sin. He's locked up here, and the Galio chases him down, but Delilah ends up with the kill, and because the jungler's yet again dead for G2, they're not going to be getting a Drake at all. And this is going to be sole point for the Mad Lions, and considering it's Ocean Soul, that's going to be a huge contest for this fourth Drake, as G2 will want to stop this Ocean Soul going over to the Mad Lions, because Ocean Soul is probably the most powerful soul in the game, as Wonder has been caught out here. He's chased down by 3 members of the Mad Lions, and that is going to be a True Shot Barrage just launched, will just hit a cannon minion, and won't hit any of the Mad Lions. And that is a bad position to be in if you're G2, as Wonder getting caught out on the side lane. Something I expected to happen at the start of the game. I said that Mad will probably try and target him so that they nullify his Stand United ultimate's effects. And basically, we saw it in that fight. Galio coming around the back, Lila from the front, pincer him in, that he's taking true damage from the Q, and burnt down to Delilah, whom actually is 5-0-2 right now. She's probably building up her Zhonya's here with the items in her inventory. That'll be huge considering the fact she wants to run into the G2 as Ezreal is in danger, forced to Arcane shift away there. And G2 getting further and further behind, though Mad are looking better and better. And maybe the possibility of a reverse sweep coming through after losing the first 2 games of this series, though it's highly unlikely, is capped. In this top lane brush, maybe looking to set up a bait here with Wonder, who's just going to take this wave, probably freeze it in a good position for him. But because Caps is actually hovering here, no one's responding to the bot wave push by Galio, who's down there. Scatterweak isn't going to land either. And there's actually a Yuumi there as well. I didn't realize G2 had 3 members in the top side of the map. And that's very unsafe considering the fact Ezreal is clearing the mid wave on his own. He was a very big sitting duck for G2 and could have been killed off there if Mad wanted to. Now, bot side, Jankos is shadowing Wonder, who has responded to the Galio push of earlier. The Swirl Seed's going to come through the mid lane, hit no one, and keep rolling. It's probably going to hit an exit. No, it's going straight through to the fountain. And there's a second. That is going to be sleep put down onto Ezreal. He's forced to cleanse that away. And that is a big summoner burnt from the side of G2, because Lila's ult comes up a lot quicker than a cleanse will. And that essentially means that this Ezreal, when it comes to team fighting, will be in trouble. As bot side, we are seeing a bit of a trade between the two taunt champions. Galio, though, winning out slightly as he's got the rest of his team coming in. The Ash Arrow is going to be dodged here by the Shen, but the taunt will not be, and Camille's coming in for a bit of revenge from the early game, and that is going to be the kill over to Kazi. True Shot Barrage just sent through the goalposts there, and G2 yet again caught out of position. Wonder more specifically whom is realistically being punished this game, considering the fact that he chose the Shen as his first blind pickable top laner, and Oromne chose Camille second because he knew the combination that his team could lock for himself. Ezreal, though, he may be stepping up into a bit of danger. Camille stayed. She's re-engaging. There's a Hextech Ultimatum challenge, and the Galio comes in over the top. Final chapter is being challenged by this Yuumi, and that forces the disengage away by the Mad Lions, and Ezreal manages to stay alive, though the Camille is being TP'd on top of by the G2 members here. They're looking to fight this here. Shen's coming over the top. There's a second TP as well. He's going to try and dash straight through the Camille, though the hookshot pulls into safety. True Shot Barrage is going to be dodged, and that was narrowly avoided there. Ever so close to hitting, but G2 force the Mad Lions away with 30 seconds till Ocean Drake, and more specifically Ocean Soul if you're Mad Lions. They could realistically look for this, but Lila is behind them. They're unaware of this as well, and Shen will probably go to check for vision. He comes over the wall into the loving arms of Delilah. Lulu's here as well, but now G2 know where Shadow is. He's forced to run back to his team to play it safe. Ocean Drake spawns in 2 seconds. G2 all grouped up here, 4 members I should say, where make that 5 because there's a Yuumi. I forgot that she exists in this game, and Galio looking for a flank. He's gone over the wall with the blast cone. Engage here from Camille. That's a Hector ultimatum put down onto Ezreal. That is a lovely taunt onto 3. Kick back though, and Delilah is coming in. Stopwatch after stopwatch from G2 will not keep them alive here, and that is a double kill over to Camille. A double kill over to Delilah. That is going to be Ocean Soul over to the Mad Lions. More importantly, that is going to be Baron on the side of Mad, who absolutely decimated that team fight there, and realistically should win the game with this push. They're going to get at least the inhib turrets because of the early work onto the split push that they did. Anyway, we take a look at this fight again. Yuumi and Ezreal are stepping quite far forward, as Galio, we see, goes over the wall with the blast cone. Ezreal stood so far forward here, it's very easy for the hookshotting Camille to land her ult onto him, trap him in place. Galio comes in with the 3-man taunt. It gets cleansed by Syndra and he's kicked away, but Lila comes in, putting the G2 members to sleep. They're forced to stopwatch, and then it's just easy cleanup here for the rest of Mad as they just chase down the members of G2 who try to flee. But we look at the team fight there. Shen got 0 damage out from that fight. He was locked up as well as the Ezreal early, and that is actually smart by Mad. They don't want him challenging the Stand United early, so they essentially kill him off so that there's no shields for the Ezreal, who may be walking into a bit of trouble here. Humanoid is lurking around on the Galio, but he is not going to engage. Ezreal's going to go back, but Galio is actually stepping forward to allow his team pressure in the mid lane to actually challenge, as Sleep is going to be put down onto the Shen. He's going to be hit by the Swirl Seed. There's the Q from Delilah. He's just being chunked out quite quickly as Galio is going into the backline of G2 here. That is a big entrance there. Lee Sin just gets absolutely demolished, and G2 losing their base. Jungler is dead for them, and most of their bases now, as the top lane inhibitor turret falls, make the inhibitor the second thing to fall, and Mad probably will be heading down to this bot wave as it is slowly pushing in for them to this G2 inhib turret, though the rest of Mad are going to be hovering in this mid wave. They're going to keep their way pushing. Perks though, looking to probably get a fight here for G2. trying to force the Mad Lions away. But he was stepping ever so close to the Galio, who could just easily go in with the Camille. Scatterweak is not going to land for G2, and that is the Banshee's Veil popped. We are going to see a fight possibly here, as are we seeing any TPs coming through for G2? No. They're just going to fall back to this inhib turret. They're trying to keep this alive as long as possible. Swell Seed is not going to land, and Scatterweak neither is going to land, but that inhibitor is falling, and Galio's coming in. The Hextech ultimatum is being challenged onto the Ezreal, and he's locked up with the final chapter though, and this is a big fight as Ezreal Lee Sin is killed off first. The Ashe gets the second kill, make that a triple kill in this fight, and Mad just are going to take G2's base here and take us to game number 4. And this is a big win and a resurgence for the Mad Lions here in this series, whom just seem to have been asleep all this time. Good win there for Mad. They're going to be looking ever so good as they look to win the 5th game here. And maybe the 4th game as well. But that gives a 2-1 advantage to G2. But that game was big for both teams. Only one team can win this best of 5. And G2 looked ever so good in the first 2 games. Game 3, not so much. You could probably consider it down to drafting, because they allowed that big Galio and Camille combo to go through for the Mad Lions, and that essentially allowed so many plays for Mad to make. They essentially said, hey, you've got a Shen, but we don't care. We're just going to set up the plays. You don't need to set up plays. We'll just do it all for you and win the game off of that. But lovely plays coming out from Mad this entire game. Will we see them continue this sort of setup into game 4? I highly think that G2 will probably ban out the Galio or the Camille as one of their first round bans. If not, they may go for the combo themselves. I know Caps can play Galio. Obviously, he loves to roam quite heavily. And Wunder, obviously, is a very strong Camille player. Though, I don't think G2 will go to it. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new if you want to. And I will see you guys later. Peace out.